Press podcast. Hey,
College
college basketball experience.
basketball experience. What's up, LT?
What's up, baby? We got our seventh subscriber on our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Number seven.
we just launched on YouTube, so get out there and you can
Yes,
actually you can see our pretty faces in
you're
addition to our voices that you guys hear.
yes,
So,
you are prettier than mine, and it's been a
thanks,
great
man.
spectacle. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Whether you smash the like button on YouTube or you do it on Apple Podcasts, we love the 5 stars. We love the comments. We love to interact also on Instagram and Twitter. Um, so
And
if
we have
I
a, I'm gonna give you props, man. We have a really good Instagram page. You do a really good job managing and running that. You always throw highlights, players of the day, games of the
yeah,
day, that kind of stuff.
quotes. Yeah, quotes.
Highlights, quotes. Like you do a great job. So if you're
Thank you. I
not
appreciate
following
that.
us on Instagram, find us over there because it's a fun page to follow.
Yeah, full court
I'm
press
part
Vigo.
of the Full Court Press podcast, but I am a
Yes,
follower of our
yes,
Instagram. Love
yes.
it.
You're gonna soon take over our Facebook page.
All right.
We're gonna regulate whatever it's called. No,
Nice, nice, nice.
whatever it's called. So if I had to ask you
Mhm.
3 teams that have been your biggest disappointment, who would they be?
Ooh, um,
Who comes first?
Kentucky,
Number one is Kentucky. Okay.
Michigan State, although
Yep.
they had a big win against Illinois. I think that was a must-win game for them, having
Yes.
Illinois play at Michigan State, and
Yes.
they won that. So it's going to be interesting to see how Izzo and his team kind of build off of that. But for
Yep.
a whole season wise,
Yep.
they've been up there. um, and then I'm going to go Creighton.
I just don't like Creighton.
I had they had a good year last year. I think they're overrated this year. I wanted to see them do better. Um, and they're just not, they don't have that like impressive factor this year
Yeah.
to really go in and beat teams that they're not supposed to beat. And they have a couple losses to teams that they were supposed to beat. So they've been and I'm a Big East person. I love
Yeah.
the Big East, and so I want to see as many teams do well there. And so that would probably be my third team.
Yeah. I would say Kentucky for sure. I would
Mhm.
definitely say Kentucky. And I read a quote, and I can't remember who said it. He said we need to start playing for the names on the front of the shirt and honor and respect the history and the of Kentucky basketball. And it's just like they're like top 5, top 10 in all these categories. It's ridiculous. Like I think they're top 10 in scoring. I think they're top 5 in scoring, assists, but yet they've lost 3 games in a row, which is like unheard of.
Yeah, I mean it's three home games, I think.
Yeah,
So
it's something ridiculous.
yeah, so it's we talked a lot about them on our preseason
Yep,
episode, one of our first ones, and on paper, you're looking at them on paper, and you're like, man, they're so good on paper, right?
but they're young. They're
That
young.
and that's the thing, and I think that's where we're seeing like the transfer portal come into play. I mean,
Hmm.
because they're a young team on the court and they're playing against solid programs with experienced juniors, seniors, fifth year
Yep,
seniors, and it's hard to play against.
yep,
So and to your point, the playing for the name on the front of the jersey versus the back of the jersey, that type of mentality. I think it's hard for some of these young guys who play in and who are coming into college athletics, as a whole and being thrown money at them now.
yep.
And no matter what your belief is on NIL and things like that, there's going to be positives and there's going to be negatives, right? But
Mhm.
there is something said about saying like, hey, I'm getting, they're getting paid no matter what this year, right?
Yeah,
And so, and most of these guys are only going to play 1 or 2 years for Coach Cal and at Kentucky, and that's where he's done a good job of recruiting, in the AAU high school McDonald's All American circuit. But I don't know if that's the same method and blueprint to put a good team together anymore.
yeah.
So,
But they're the team. If they can make the tournament, they
oh,
actually could do
anything.
something. That's the scary part. If they make the tournament,
Yep.
I mean, that's one team that could be on the bubble and still make it to a Final Four, Sweet 16.
Yep.
You know,
No, it's wild. I mean, I agree. I mean, it's the same thing with Michigan State. you know.
I don't think they can make a Sweet 16 Final Four. I mean, the way they played against Illinois, maybe, but
That's what I'm saying.
I've
It's like,
watched them enough. I've watched them
yeah.
enough to be like,
Well, you've also watched Kentucky where it's like, okay, like, but
yeah,
it's yeah, college basketball is exciting this year.
yeah,
And we
college is,
started off the year, I don't want to say we bashed the transfer portal or anything like that, but it's been like I don't think we were that big of fans with how flexible
yes,
the portal has been. But I'll tell you what, Luke, it is I don't think without the transfer portal, college basketball would be as competitive as it is right
yeah.
now.
I think they have to make some tweaks,
Mhm.
just to make it where, a guy has a great year, like our next guests or team we're talking about, they're
Yeah.
having a great year, and then all of a sudden they start picking. Now the coach talked about culture and the right players and stuff, and you can see that because he hasn't had a lot of transfers. I think he only has one Division I transfer on his roster, but
Yeah.
I think there needs to be some tweaks. But I will tell you, the NIL and transfer portal seemed like it was going to hurt the mid majors. And it's funny because you're seeing so many upsets. Madison over Michigan State.
Yeah.
It just hasn't hurt these mid-major programs.
No, no. But yeah, I mean you good segue into our next guests.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean they're so fun to watch this year.
20-5.
20-5, 10-2 a conference, 11-2 at home in Boone, North Carolina. We're talking about Appalachian State Mountaineers. I think that they're one of the more or most fun teams to watch just from a college basketball fan
Yep.
experience.
Yep.
I mean, I fell in love with college basketball just watching hard defense back in the day,
Yep.
guys
Rebounding. Yep. Yep.
rebounding hard, all like this, like what coach Dustin Kerns has done with that program, in just 5 years and put them on the map to the position they're in today when we get to
Yep.
talk to them. I mean, it was a privilege,
Yep.
like, to
Yep.
be able to talk because I mean, he has got to be one of the hottest coaches in the country right now with where he's taken this program the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
And they were 16-16 last year, 9-9, tied for seventh in the
Yeah.
Sun Belt. They're 20-5. I mean,
Yep.
and a kind of a key stat is the next 6 games that they have in conference. Only one of those teams, which is Louisiana, who we've had Coach Marlin on the podcast, Bobby Marlin, and the Raging Cajuns. They're the only team that has a winning record. So even if they go 5-1, they're 20-25-6. But here's the thing: the Sun Belt, you got James Madison, who has been ranked, who's still a good team. What happens if James Madison wins the conference tournament and/or Appalachian State wins a tournament? Is Sun Belt getting 2 bids this year? I mean, the ACC's down, the Pac-10, the Pac-12. I don't know what the hell they're doing out there. Bar from Arizona, WashU's doing pretty well, but is it a 2 bid league this year? It deserves to be.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say. I think from a point of deserving it, it's for sure a two-bid league.
I mean,
You
if the
know,
team goes 26-7, how are they not in the NCAA tournament?
I'm not on the selection committee. They have not asked me yet. So
I did reach out to someone on the selection committee. They have not gotten back to us.
yeah, I mean, Sun Belt is tough this year. It's then you've got Troy that's also, 17-8, 10-2. They beat Appalachian State by 4 points on January 6th,
Yep. Yep.
It's so I mean, you've got Troy, James Madison, Appalachian State, I mean, you
Southern
have
Mississippi.
Southern Mississippi, Texas
Clarence,
State,
remember
like,
Clarence Witherspoon?
yeah. Is that where
Yes.
he's from?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
went to Southern Mississippi.
So, I mean, Sun Belt's one of I like following the Sun Belt Conference because it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I think that conference tournament's just going to be lights out.
Yes.
You're going to see guys playing for their life during that
Yep.
tournament.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I do think the selection committee is going to consider it a one bid league. Whoever
Yep.
wins that conference tournament is going to come out and go dancing.
Yep.
But deservingly, I for sure think it's at least a two team bid, but I don't
Yep.
think it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And we had Coach Kerns and we had Tre'Von Spillers, who's leading the team in scoring and rebounding. JUCO All-American. I mean, the kid gets after it. And you could tell he had a blast. We were laughing quite a bit.
What a great young man.
Yeah.
6'7" forward out of Charleston, South Carolina. talked about his history at USC Salkehatchie, which I had to actually look up.
Yeah, but you see, so the tough words, if you've noticed, like tough names and tough words, I passed on to you, as you've seen.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Gerlifson. I wasn't too sure about Coach G at USF, so I'm like,
That's
Sam will
all good.
figure it out. He's
Yeah.
younger and better looking.
And then Spillers goes from Salkehatchie to Moberly Community College, one of the top JUCO
Yep.
programs in the country.
Missouri. Yep.
Led the country in blocks in Division I JUCO with 4.9 blocks a game.
Isn't that ridiculous? Yeah, but I was wanted to ask him, were there all like little people? He probably played against all little people.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's the number 3 in the country in rebounds with 11.
Yep.
I mean, that guy is, and he has such a good head on his shoulders too.
Yeah, and he's translated his game from JUCO to Division I basketball, which is
absolutely
fantastic.
I asked him that question. His scouting report's all about getting rebounds, defense in the paint, all that kind of stuff. But now he's just turned into a double machine at Appalachian State, and he's 9th in the country right now in field goal percentage. So, I mean, he is, in January is the Sun Belt Player of the Week towards the end of the month, and I mean, he's making a name for himself. And I think what's impressive is how when you look at Appalachian State's roster, how well Coach Kerns is kind of mapping out the different positions.
And don't forget his staff too. Yeah, him and his staff are
and his staff, right? I mean, you watched that Toledo game, didn't you? The double overtime.
Oh, watch the whole thing. It was awesome. One of the best games so far this year.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, watching those, like reading the stat line the next day and just seeing how much the ball was moved around from Appalachian State, how many guys got double digits, just different contributions from each player. I mean, this team you need to watch if you're a college basketball fan and you want to watch how the game should be played, watch this team. They play for each other. They play hard on both ends of the court. And it was, it was a fun interview with both guys, incredibly humble, good head on their shoulders. So let's get into it.
Yeah. Let's get into it. All right, Sam, we got a player on the podcast. Not like we never have a player on the podcast. We got Tre'Von Super Mario Spillers.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you on the pod, man. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know why I called you Super Mario? Because he's in the background.
You got to tap into your inner child sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know about that. I'm 47, angry, and 3 kids and married. So stay young, Tre'Von. Don't grow old. But, dude, you're from Charleston, South Carolina. You're the leading scorer for the App State Mountaineers, who Sam picked. I'm going to give Sam some props. I rip on him a lot, but he said that you guys were going to upset James Madison. What did you guys do?
We upset them.
Yeah, you upset him. You upset
twice
him
this year.
Yeah, twice. I mean, it's been really good and been really impressive. And I really liked your game Saturday against Toledo. Double overtime. Was that just? I mean, that was an awesome game.
Yeah, we had to fight. We knew we were down 9 with like 2 minutes left, but we always fight. So we never quit, never let our head down. We always keep our head in the game because we know it's basketball. Anything can happen. And as y'all saw, anything happened and we let it over. We went in double overtime. We won in double overtime.
Yeah. And Toledo's a good program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, talk a little bit about some of the teammates that stepped up that game. It seems like you guys had just multiple guys step up throughout the game. Anybody you want to kind of call out and give some props to?
Jordan Marsh for sure. He freshman, he played 30 minutes. That was a big game for him. He stepped up a lot, being a freshman, not playing as much, but there when we need him. So I appreciate Jordan for that. I say Miles Tate. Him too, Donovan.
Miles put up 20 points that game.
Yeah, we had probably 7 people put up double digits, 7 people. It was a lot. It just goes to show that we have multiple people on our team who can score the ball when we need them to. So it's not like we have just one or two guys. We have multiple people who can score the ball whenever they want to. So it's blessed having that on a team and just being connected like that.
Yeah. What I really impressed is big man over here is averaging a double-double. Or no, sorry, not a double. He leads the team in both statistics, okay? 13.4 points a game and 8.2 rebounds per game. And he was a really good he was an All-American JUCO player. He was first in blocks and third in rebounds. You guys as a team are fifth nationally in rebounds with 38.8. You're top 50 in field goal percentage. You're first in the conference in blocks. And you want to know who the next closest team, they're averaging 7.3. The next closest team is only averaging 4.7. I mean,
crazy.
You guys have some dogs, obviously, down there. I just want to say dogs today. I'm kind of excited. How much is that, like, how much has Coach really preached, getting after it, especially down low?
He preaches about that a lot because we're the last line of defense. We know that we're the best big team in the conference. So we're the last line defense. We know if anything has to, then we'll just take it off the glass, block it off the glass if we have to.
Yeah.
But,
and Sam, I forgot to mention this. I always find some weird ass shit, especially on the internet as Sam smiles over there. So you guys are only averaging, for as good as you guys are in rebounds and blocks, you guys are only averaging 13.4 personal fouls a game. Okay. While Georgia Southern, I love Georgia, especially Peaches, is averaging 19.8. I mean, that's control, Sam. Control.
Yeah, no, man, these guys are just beasts down low, and it's I'm sure you're seeing, Tre'Von, the more the season's going on, like just your guys' reputation on the defensive side. I mean, it's forcing a lot of your opponents to stay out of the paint, right? And take, off balance shots, play games that they're not used to playing, right? And I mean, I love it. And it's what I want to get into is, your scouting report moving from JUCO into Appalachian State was, I mean, you're just this, like LT said, you were number one in blocks in Division I JUCO with almost 5 a game, right? You're number 3 in the country in rebounds at 11 a game. Now you're putting up some points, and like, how have you transitioned into like this offensive player, during the off season and these first kind of, I guess we're more than halfway through the season now, but how's that transition into offensive player been?
It's transitioning pretty well. Doing the same thing I did really in JUCO. All my points came from, I never had set plays for me for offense. Mine's always came from, if I'm open, I get it, or just crashing the offensive rebound. That's really my main, that's what I'm known for. Just my energy and effort, crashing the offensive boards, or being in lanes, getting steals, getting blocks, and then that leads to my offense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's I mean, you mentioned just grabbing those boards and putting it back up. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons you're, consistently like 5th through 10th this entire year in field goal percentage in the entire country. So congratulations, man. It's, I mean, you like the way you've stepped up into this role with Appalachian State. It's like, we're not seeing a whole lot of players moving from there's usually 1 or 2, right? Moving from JUCO and into a Division I NCAA. And it's like, I mean, you have certainly made a name for yourself this year. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't win anything, you don't get an award, but congratulations from
Not
Sam.
yet, man. Not yet.
Not yet. So App State, Sam and I were talking a little bit earlier, and what really impressed me with App State, with Appalachian State, is they don't have a lot of transfers. So Coach Kerns is really, it seems like, a recruiting high school. You have a lot of freshmen, a lot of guys that have been there 3-4 years. You're an exception, okay? And Miles Tate is also an exception too, came from Butler. How was the transition for you? And then also, why did you choose Appalachian State?
The transition was great. I chose App State because they made me feel like I was their priority. And that's why I feel like throughout my entire recruitment process with them, I was their number one priority. Coach Kerns flew out. He saw me practice. Coach Young, and they flew out. He saw me practice. They both flew out at one time to see me practice. We went out for lunch. I came on my visit.
Where did he take you for lunch?
A little Mexican spot that was in my school, in my little area. It was a little Mexican spot. It was good, though. Yeah. It was good. I came on my visit with my granddad. I played pickup with the guys. It made me feel like belonged here. It made me feel like this was my home, and it was close to home. So that's why I picked App State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
it's in
talk
North
about
Carolina.
So what?
South Carolina, North Carolina. It's all good.
Yeah, but it's North Carolina. I mean, you South Carolina represent, baby.
Yeah. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, I love looking at like your trajectory, coming out of high school in South Carolina, and then you went to USC Salkehatchie. Is that how you pronounce that? Salkehatchie. I had to look it up. And then you go to Moberly Community College. LT, do you know where Moberly is?
It's Mobley. It's in
Moberly.
Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just north of Columbia. So, talk a little bit about what's that been like? Talk about your recruiting options, coming out of your senior year of high school, and how you've developed as a player the past couple of years. Because it seems like you've just exponential growth the past couple of years.
Yeah. So out of high school, I didn't have any Division I offers out of high school. I had a lot of D2s, a lot of JUCOs. So once I figured JUCO was going to be my route that I had to take, which I wasn't mad about, I just had to figure out which one would be best for me. And at the time, I had a few JUCOs, but I felt like Salkehatchie was my best JUCO to go to my freshman year. So I chose to go there. I had a great start my freshman year. I had a great start, averaging 8-8, top 5 or top 10 in the country for blocks again. So it was great. And then going into my sophomore year, there was some stuff that happened with my coach at the previous school, so I had to transfer. And I was talking to my AU coaches, and he was telling me it was best for me to get out of the state. I have to get out of my comfort zone and go somewhere far to get my name for myself. So I figured it was best for me to do that. So then I started talking to a bunch of JUCOs. I was talking to some from Florida, Kansas, a whole lot of them. And I just figured that the reputation that Moberly had and their record that they had in the coach, I decided that was the best one for me. And I talked to my mom about it, and she said, just pray to God about it and make sure that's the right choice for you. So I did that, and I figured it was the best choice for me. It was 14 hours, so it was a long ride there. It was a long ride there to school. It was fun though. The experience there was great. I met a whole bunch of new people. I made a bunch of new bonds with a bunch of people. I'm glad that I was able to go there and give my name for myself. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, it's I love it, and moral of the story is when in doubt, ask your mom. That's my personal philosophy. So,
how's that working out for you, Sam?
It's pretty good, man. I'm on this pod with you, so.
Oh, did you ask your mom about it? I love your mom.
My mom.
She's
My
only
mom
scolded
says
me
hello,
once
LT.
in your life.
Yeah.
She scolded me once.
No, she loves you. It's all good.
You know when she scolded me?
What's that?
Tre'Von, you'll appreciate this. So we just played Drake, and I was pissed, and I kicked a garbage can.
Yeah.
He was so mad at me. But what the kicker is, I think I broke my damn toe.
Yeah. You were upset, but it's all good, man. It's all good. We're here. So
Tre'Von, tell us a little bit about the season so far. I mean, you guys have done really well. I mean, Sam predicted you guys beat James Madison. You beat James Madison. You had a really good win against Toledo, which recently, which I saw. I'm in MAC country. You guys were 16-16 last year, 9-9, tied for 7th in conference. You're right now 20-5, 10-2, and you're tied with Troy, who unfortunately you lost to. How's conference been? And I guess, what are you guys looking? I mean, I know it's always coach speak or player speak, always looking at in the next game ahead. What are you looking at in the next 6 games ahead? Because you're only playing one team who has a winning record.
The season has been pretty great. We know we had high expectations for the season, especially given that we had a lot of people come back from the last year's team. And I feel like the coaches did a great job recruiting players that would best fit the system for this year. So looking into the next 6 games, we just gotta just take one game at a time and just play our brand of basketball. Don't do nothing that we wouldn't do, and just win games.
how's the home environment in Boone, North Carolina, man? You guys are crushing it at home, and I know that's part of Coach Kerns' philosophy, just getting more people in the stands every game, every year he's there. I mean, you guys are 11-0 at home this year. What's that feel like?
That's great. It means that stand on business. No one will come in and win on our court. We're gonna always defend our home court no matter what. But it's a great feeling. It's great given that I talked to some of the players last year and they was telling me how the home games would be last year. They didn't have that many fans. So kind of scared me a little bit thinking we weren't gonna have as many fans, but we started winning. So now we got people really coming to support us. And me and my teammates talk about it all the time. Like we're doing history, right? We're doing stuff that has never been done for in this program, and it's a great feeling for all of us, and we're just happy to continue on and just do everything that we can.
Yeah, it's amazing how winning cures a lot of issues, right? And
yep.
And I've noticed, and Sam has noticed too, is if you start winning, people start paying attention. Okay?
Yeah.
And if you're not doing so well, I mean, why bother go to the game? So, and I think in a college town like Boone, North Carolina, which is in the middle of North Carolina, you know, they want to see winners. So, big ups for that. I want to go back to Coach Kerns' system. What is kind of the Appalachian State University way for basketball? What's his system?
Well, for starters, take the stairs. We never take elevators anywhere. We always take the stairs wherever we go. He don't like us taking elevators. So we always take the stairs. But basketball wise, so we have like a list of things for us to do, like list of our pillars, offense and defense. We gotta play our yard with pressure, guard our yard with pressure when we're guarding the basketball, multiple efforts, what else? Game rebounding, like offensive, we paint the great. So you try to just collide everyone in so you can get better shots. We try to create the best shots for everybody, get everybody in their best spot for open shots. Just sharing the ball with each other. We have what else? It's a lot. It's a whole lot. It's like 10. It's 10 pillars. It's 5 for offense, 5 for defense. It's a lot to remember. But the main thing is just playing together and sticking together. That's all through everything. Losses, wins, we always just stick together and have each other's back, no matter what.
Yeah. I'm still on sticking with the stairs, Sam.
No, it's all good. It's all good. LT, we have anything? We got to fire off some questions here.
Yeah, let's fire off some questions.
Cool. So Tre'Von, what we do, we call it the shot clock here with us, and LT is going to ask you a series of 6 or 7 questions, and really kind of first thing that comes to mind, one word, one sentence. You know, you don't have to go into any depth or anything like that. Some of the couple questions might be serious, but most of them should be a little funny, allow you to kind of poke a little fun at your teammates here or there. But yeah, just have fun with it.
Gotcha.
All right, you win nothing, you get anything. Maybe we'll get you the Luigi doll behind you. One word to describe Appalachian State.
Funny.
We haven't had that one yet.
Well, I think we should just stop now while we're ahead. This is going to be a good one then. Ready for this one?
Yes.
If the team was not called the Mountaineers, what would they be called?
I would say the Josephs. I guess. Yeah.
The what?
Josephs. It's the mascot. It's our mascot, Josephs.
Oh, okay. Josephs. Yeah. I think that could really catch on. I can see a lot of memorabilia and clothing sold from that. One word to describe Coach Kerns.
Serious.
Oh God, that scares me for our interview with him after you.
We're talking to him in like 15 minutes. So
oh God, I might have revised some of these questions for him. What is the one arena or team you've always wanted to play against? College team or arena, college arena you always want to play in?
I've always wanted to play against North Carolina because it was always my favorite school growing up. So I always wanted to play against them.
Ooh, that's great. If you could be any animal, what animal would you be?
A lion.
Ooh, like that one.
Are you a Leo?
Libra.
Libra, okay.
Who is the biggest trash talker on the team? Or who is the biggest trash talker you ever played against?
Biggest trash talker on this team is Donovan Gregory by far. By far.
Okay. Who is the funniest teammate then?
Donovan Gregory.
Okay.
By far. I'm not gonna say by far. It's a few. I have a top 3, actually. If you want to hear it? I have a top 3.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
We're gonna say Don, Justin, and Miles. Those are my top 3 funniest people on the team.
Okay. So who's the best dancer?
CJ.
Oh, and best, as Sam has brought me down to my old age or my younger age, who is the best rapper on the team?
Miles.
Okay.
He actually be freestyling on his phone and he would send it to us and we'll be listening to it. Like he put me in the car one time and he was freestyling. It's funny. That's funny. That's a funny question because he was freestyling for me like 2-3 weeks ago.
I love it. I love it.
There you go. So any coaches that stand out for being funny, best dancer or best rapper, or I guess for the coaches because they're old like us, best singer?
Funny, I'm gonna go Coach Martin. I'd say he's the most childish one of them all. Like he's a grown man, but he acts like he's 15.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just with him. I was just in the office and I'm standing there talking to one of the coaches, and he comes up to me and he starts grabbing on my string like this and just starts playing with it like this. It's childish.
Reminds me of like my 10-year-old, which is actually subsequently named Sam. Figure that one out.
There you go.
So what would you say Coach Kerns is? Funny, dancer, or rapper?
Funny.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Funny.
said he was
I haven't seen him dance. He's serious, but he's also funny as well. I've never seen him dance, and I don't think he can rap at all.
Okay. Last question. What is your anthem?
That's tough. I've never had to answer that question before.
Well, we are hard hitting here in the Full Court Press podcast. Hey, college basketball experience.
Anthem?
If you had a walkout song, what would it be?
It's a whole lot of. I'd say, I know it's an NBA Youngboy song. I would say
I've heard of him.
I'd say, he's my favorite rapper, so it's like I can't really say which one it would be. I'd just say Big Truck because that's like it's a song that gets me on my toes. So I say
Big Truck.
Yeah. No. I lied. Dead Trolls. That's it.
Dead Trolls.
Yeah. Dead Trolls. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully there's not a lot of swearing. I try not to listen to hip hop that has a lot of swearing.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. If you say that, then I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah.
No, LT's got three kids at home, but he's like old school East Coast hip hop. So
yeah, I'm like old school, like P.D. Pablo, North Carolina. Take your shirt off. Wave it around like a helicopter.
Oh God. You can stop now, Luke.
All right, I'll shut up.
No, it's all good, man. Well, Tre'Von, we want to thank you for being on the podcast, man. Congrats on an incredible season. Anything you want to, I'm going to give you the platform. And if there's anything you want to share to the Appalachian State faithful, fan base, alumni, student section, anything like that, I'm cheering for you guys. The rest of the season. I hope you guys get to play Troy in Sun Belt Conference Championship. I want to see you guys get revenge on that game. And but I'm going to give you the platform for a minute.
I just want to say, appreciate all the support App State has showed us. There's more work to be done, and just keep packing homes. That's all. So I'll just keep supporting us and just keep packing homes. That's all.
Yes,
love it.
And drop it like it's hot. Didn't think that.
Close it out, Luke. What do you got?
Right. Well, you know what, Tre'Von, good luck to you. We appreciate you, and we'll be watching. He says post revenge on Troy. I say like beat the crap out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
you guys are just a fun team to watch, man. Luke and I are big. Like we are like college basketball, like historians, and just like follow the game and just love. And the way you guys play just so hard, like reminds us of like the old school mentality, man. So keep it up, man. As from a fan's perspective, it's a pleasure to watch you guys. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tre'Von. Good luck, man.
Yep. Thank you.
Cheers, bud. Sam, we got another college player here. He actually looks 23, and he told us he's not 23. We got Coach Dustin Kerns from Appalachian State. And Coach, before you say anything, I want to give big up to my partner because I kind of knock him a little bit, even though my picks are pretty shitty week to week. So don't let me down, Coach, because I picked you over other former guest is Louisiana this week. So I need that pick. But Sam made a bold statement a couple months ago. You know, James Madison was, hot. They were doing real well, and they're still playing well. They beat Michigan State. Then they went in and beat Kent State in, I believe it was overtime or double overtime. Sam made a bold prediction that App State was going to beat James Madison.
Thanks, Sam.
No worries, man. It's we were telling Tre'Von that we watch a lot of college basketball. We have for several decades since we were kids, I'm sure like yourself and whatnot. And the way you guys play at Appalachian State with just that kind of hard-nosed defense, aggressive on the boards, like that's what wins conference games. And, I love watching the style that you play and that your team has really invested in. So it's a blast to watch you guys this year.
Well, I appreciate it. I think first and foremost, we've got really good people as coaches, really good people as players. They come from great families. We have a high character group and people that really truly care about team. And I feel like in 2024, if you can get that, like being a team is a competitive advantage in 2024. Not to mention other teams, but like you can see some teams across the country that have a bunch of money for NIL. They put a bunch of money putting a group of talent together, but they're not a team. Mm-hmm. And when you can get people to really surrender themselves for the team, buy into the team, and I think you do that for their character, man, a team is a competitive advantage. I do believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw, I don't know if Sam saw, but I saw it in full display. I'm in MAC country. I mean, that game against Toledo was, as the young people say, lit. And you guys just would not, like, you guys were like one of those, like, and no offense, like one of those little barking dogs that just keeps going and going and going. Like, you guys just kept getting after it.
What an incredible game, right? Like
two good teams too. Great teams.
Instant classic. I just thought it was great players making plays after plays after plays. And so, like neither one of us could stop each other. And it's not like I just thought it goes back to, man, like there was a lot of talent on the court and they just kept making play after play on both teams. Mm-hmm. Not as fun as to coach in a game like that, but you know what? In the same sense, it was, right? Like it's just one of those games where you just is an instant classic. You hate someone's really got to lose it because both teams were incredible, and we fortunately made some great plays at the end. But just a great game.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sam and I talk a lot about scheduling, and we don't need to go into it. We had Dr. John Steinbrecher on the podcast, the MAC commissioner, and he actually talked about this whole kind of initiative and partnership with Sun Belt. Obviously scheduling on a team like yourself, you were 16-16 last year, you're 20-5 this year. How important are these kind of series, are instead of playing like the conference games or, in your case, the non-conference games too?
Yeah, I think that the Sun Belt MAC Challenge is a 2-year agreement, but I kind of feel like it's going to keep going. There might be, I don't know how some of the coaches feel about this mid-February game because next year it's flipped. So the MAC opens the season at the Sun Belt, and in February we're going all at a MAC team. But I feel like that it's really we both get a really quality home game and a quality road game. I feel like that there's been great games. Like the James Madison Kent State game, another incredible game, ours. I could keep going, right? But like, I think it's been probably well received. In a weird way, playing a non-conference game in February as a head coach, first time I've ever done that. But in a weird way, it was kind of like re-energized everybody in our program, kind of playing someone new on a Saturday, kind of re-energized our fan base, I think, a little bit, playing just a really good program that we're maybe not necessarily usually seeing the campus. And we had almost 5,500 people here. I think part of it was like, hey, let's go watch a new team here in Toledo who's got an awesome program. I mean, they've won the MAC 3 straight years, something like five or six 21 seasons. So our respect level, and I think our fans' respect level, was very high. But I think it's a neat deal. I really do, and I think that overall it's been good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you guys went 10-2 also.
This time, I don't know what it was the first time, but we lost. I don't know what the what the record was the first time.
The 10-2
I want to
is
say
just
the
sticking
MAC
out.
won the first round. I want to say
I think so.
They won 8-4 or something like that.
I think it was like I think it was like 8-4 or 7-5. But I mean, just looking at it, and Sam and I were talking about it. I mean, the Sun Belt really showed up. This past weekend.
Yeah, and I think that maybe some of it had to do with the travel in late February. Like we've got some places that are hard to get to early in the season. Maybe you're a little bit more fresh. I don't know. Be curious.
Yeah. But if you live in Ohio, it's always nice to go to Alabama in February. I'm just saying.
True.
Coach, how important was last week to the rest of the season for you guys? You guys, I think you were on like an 8 or 9 game win streak. Then you drop a game to Texas State, right? And then a couple days later, you have a tough game against Toledo that you guys basically just persevered through, right? I mean, you had so many guys step up in double digits, from Donovan Gregory, Miles Tate, Jordan Marsh, it just seemed like this time of year, when you drop a game like you guys did to Texas State, it's usually like, how do the players and staff respond to that, right? And to see you guys come out against Toledo and play as hard as you guys did for as long as you guys did in double overtime, come back in that game, right, as well at the end. Like, what did that week mean to you guys as a team?
Well, Sam, I thought that when you're in a league like the Sun Belt and the geographical, where we got to go, that was our third road game in 7 days. But just sometimes that's just going to happen. I think that just a couple other examples, I think, on the national level, because we were at the top of the league. Texas State now has won 4 in a row, but was in the bottom. But like sometimes those things are just going to happen based off of just, the league and the travel and things like North Carolina going to Atlanta and losing to Georgia Tech. It's just sometimes it's going to happen, right? I could get Wisconsin going to Michigan and losing. It's just sometimes it's going to happen. I thought that, like I said, maybe that's why I felt like playing Toledo was a good kind of change of pace and kind of a re-energizer for everybody in the program, players, coaches, fans, and especially the way the game went. But we know the position we're in, and we know that how we're being viewed, and so the 2 games before Texas State, we played in 2 blowouts. Georgia State and Georgia Southern were 2 blowouts. And so then we got to go to Texas State. Obviously that's a big game. And so we stubbed their toe, give Texas State credit. They outplayed us. But that reset sometimes can really help you. And, hopefully that'll spark a winning streak here.
Yeah. I believe you have the next 6 games, only one team has a winning record. So hopefully you guys can roll into that. So we talk a lot about NIL, the transfer portal. I think you're really unique. I think there's only a couple other coaches that we've really talked to, one being Travis Steele at Miami of Ohio. You're kind of doing it the old school way. I hate to say old school because it's 2-3 years ago it's changed. So you have a lot of kids that have been there 3, 4, 5 years. You added Tre'Von Spillers. You added Miles Tate from Butler, who's doing well too. I guess has your recruiting philosophy changed over the last couple of years, or is it pretty much business as usual?
It's a great question. I feel like that.
I got a great question, Sam. First one.
I feel like that you know, all of us college coaches, basketball, football, everybody, we just experienced two of the biggest rule changes in college athletics in the same year with the transfer portal, one-time transfer rule, and NIL. And I think both can be positives, right? I just think for our approach, player development has still got to be a big deal at our level. And so as you try to retain some of your players, you retain them through your experience and you retain them through the relationship and the player development piece. Also, you can't, at our level, you got to be careful to not blow up your own team by bringing in, for example, maybe a bunch of transfers. I just think at the end of the day, we still want to go about building a program in the sense of a player development standpoint. Now, we also want the most important recruits are the ones that have already chosen App State. And I think sometimes people maybe don't realize that. And so, like of 12 of our 13 scholarship players, 12 of them chose App State for the first time. Miles Tate's the only Division I transfer we have. Now, that might not happen every year, right? I think that once again, and I also think sometimes now, like the transfer portals, there's different reasons different people leave, right? And that's okay, right? That's the way it is. But I think for us, retaining players through relationships and player development, and hopefully using NIL to reward the decision they've already made, is helpful. But I think that there's also still some trial and error with it. As you mentioned, we're still new to it. I think there's still some trial and error on players and coaches, and there's some learning about what makes a fit from a decision standpoint, from a retention standpoint, from a player development standpoint. So, I wish it was maybe as easy as it sometimes seems. That we're still learning through it. We're still trying to, like I said, go through some trial and error with it. But for us this year, I think part of our success is being able to retain a really core group of guys that have been with us, and culture guys and the other talented players, but people that maybe appreciate how they're coached and developed. And I think part of it is they love App State University and they have it like an overall perspective. And then, but part of recruiting a guy like Miles Tate is, hey, we've already got really good players here. Okay, you're not going to come in with this sense of entitlement just because you're coming from Butler. But guess what? Miles Tate he did that. He didn't come in with an entitlement. He came in with, hey, man, I just want to be a part of this. I've got a humble attitude, and that's why it's worked. That's why it's worked. And so, having those personalities, being able to get guys into a rotation quicker. And so it's complicated, right? But I think that there's a lot of positives to it. And for us, we want to continue to reward through NIL the people that have already chosen App State.
Yeah. It's going to be funny because it seems like your summer is going to be busy recruiting, whereas if you did more of the transfer portal, you could take more summer vacations.
I tell you, one thing the NCAA has done great is we've never had this until last year is they put a 2-week dead period in August.
Yep.
And wow, I like that because you're doing through summer workouts. The spring now is just so busy. The summer is really busy. And now before you kind of start classes and you finish up summer workouts and your kids, I got 2 children of my own, we get a chance to really spend some quality family time. And it's never been that way. Usually in August, it's been a quiet period, which means recruits can come take unofficials to your place. And so there's always been a recruiting period. Now, 2-week dead period right before school starts. I like that.
Great. Yeah. No, it's yeah, we do talk a lot about the, transfer portal and the recruiting cycle. And it's, and you bring up a good point that it's not always the recruiting aspect as well. It's how do you create the culture where your players want to stay, right? Like especially your top players. And yeah, I mean that's going to be interesting and fun to watch as well. But it's with your mentality of having that like team first attitude with the players and recruiting the guys initially who are going to respond well to the universities that give them a chance is going to be imperative to keeping guys around. And we talked to Tre'Von about his trajectory from high school to where he's at now with you guys. When he finally got to the end of when he was talking about JUCO in Missouri and stuff like that, he was like, he basically said, after I talked to Coach Kerns and the assistant that came out to see me, took me out to a nice Mexican restaurant, all that kind of stuff. He was like, I just knew that I believed what they told me, that they wanted me there. And I mean, that just says a lot about, what you guys preach over there. So
he's been great. He's been
great. So it's your fifth season at Appalachian State. And, what have you created there that now you guys are 11-0 at home? It seems like ticket sales are going up each year. Like every time we get a game televised, there's more people in the stands. Like it seems like, Luke talks a lot about how winning solves things, right? And whatnot. Talk a little bit about like that growth just in the home center in Boone, North Carolina. And, like how important has that been to the blueprint that you've put on this program?
Yeah, Luke, Sam, I think that when we got here 5 years ago, App State had 8 straight losing seasons. So it was kind of a dark period in the program. There was tarp over the top section of the arena.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling our AD, new here, we're gonna get that tarp removed, right? And I'm sure he was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But we've been able to, in year 1, we won 18 games.
Mm-hmm.
Year 2, we went to the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Year 3, we finished second in the regular season, which is the highest finish to this point in the Sun Belt. Year 4, we beat a Power 5 for the first time in 8 years. Still finished in the top half of the league. Year 5, we get picked second, and now we have another win over a Power 5. But the other thing that I think that stands out about this year is we've hosted 2 ESPN national televised games,
Yep.
which is the first time in school history. And I think that what's so significant about the last game we had here on national TV was James Madison being a conference game.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it's one of the top 4 attended games in last 23 years here.
Wow.
1 being the opener in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
2 being Davidson with Steph Curry. 3rd being Auburn. So we've had 2 of the top 4. However, my point is, it felt like that people were here to see App State.
Yeah.
I think with those other 3, there's a little bit of a spectacle to see maybe North Carolina come here, maybe to see Steph Curry, maybe to see Auburn. But for us hosting James Madison, and we had an incredible atmosphere for national television, I felt like, you know what? People are here to see App State. And I think that's the trajectory and the trending. What we're seeing now is the narrative has changed. And I think, like I said, in year 1, people were just happy we won 18 games.
Yeah.
Now I think in 5 years, the perception has completely changed. The narrative's changed where the story is now us losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a positive.
For sure. Absolutely.
Well, you kind of shot yourself in the foot by beating Auburn because I don't think they're ever going to schedule you again.
We've got to go to Auburn next year. And that was a 2-for-1.
Has the contract been signed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They want. Oh yeah.
Because it's like
a competitor. Auburn Tigers. They
want
can't wait for us to come. They can't wait for us to come down to Auburn.
Yeah. I've witnessed firsthand Bruce Pearl, so I know
he's a terrific coach, and I give him credit for the game. There's not a lot of coaches that would do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
And
look at look at for a perfect example. UNC Greensboro goes in and beats Arkansas. Do you think they're going to schedule next year? They played them last year. So, I mean, and that's so what we've talked about, what we don't like is, a team like yourself beats a Power Five program. And then the next year they turn on to Charleston where no one wants to play them, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I remember hearing Coach Kelsey somewhere talking about like, yeah, his schedule is weaker than he would like because people won't play. We've had Coach Marlin say, like a Power Five has literally, canceled, a couple months before we're supposed to play him, and it's hard to get teams.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a good problem, right? And all of a sudden you start swimming in a new pool. It's ultimately what we want. I think that when you have a tough time scheduling, you're a victim of your own success. However, I'd much rather have it that way. When I took over the head coaching job at Presbyterian, I got there my first day and they told me how to check the voicemail on the office phone. Now, at Presbyterian that we'd taken over there, I think they'd had 14 straight losing seasons. So it was a dark period. There was like 390 messages. I think 389 were about scheduling. And so, certainly there's some good and bad with it.
It's funny.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about your coaching career. I mean, you native of Kingsport, Tennessee, played high school ball. You go to Clemson. You dabble in a little bit of coaching there, right? Then you move on to Tennessee with Buzz Peterson, Wolford, Mike Young, who you mentioned, Santa Clara, then Presbyterian. Like, at what point did you always know that you wanted to be a coach and college coach at that? And
What? First, I wanted to coach high school,
Okay.
and then you get into college and you start you fall in love with the college coaching
You
and
really wanted to deal with high school parents?
recruiting and all that stuff. Um, but in coaching, I think that's the thing. And in coaching, 2 + 2 does not equal 4, right? There's so many different ways to get into coaching.
Mhm.
We talked about Bruce Pearl earlier. He was the mascot at Boston College, right? And he's obviously one of the most successful coaches out there.
Mhm.
And so there's different ways to do it. There's different ways to go about it. And there's no crystal ball to tell you this way, this way, this way, and you're going to get a head job. Unfortunately, this is a profession that more and more people want to get in it. There's less and less spots because no one's inventing universities. Nobody's inventing colleges. But you've got more and more players maybe stopping playing. You've got more and more people, wanting to get in it. And so I did always I love basketball, played high school basketball with a really good program, but I just loved basketball. And so I really wanted I knew eventually playing career would stop and want to get into coaching. And it was fortunate to be around a lot of quality coaches and people, and at Santa Clara with Kerry Keating and 7 years with Mike Young, Buzz Peterson at Tennessee, Mike Sutton gave me my first job at Tennessee Tech. And, I felt Presbyterian was fortunate enough to give me an opportunity to be a head coach. I didn't want to be a head coach just to be one. I wanted to be a good one. Felt like that particular situation, there was an opportunity to kind of elevate the program. I certainly didn't expect it elevated after 2 years, but we hit it in recruiting and have like great coaching staff. And then, you mentioned being from Kingsport. Kingsport's about a little over an hour from here, so this is the closest I've ever been home in coaching. And so my kids have a relationship with their grandparents. That's really important to me. And so, and then this App State and Boone is an awesome place. Never been here, come check it out, right? Like, especially in the summers. But in the winter with ski resorts and all the above, like just a great university, a top 50 public university academically, but also the brand athletic wise, the brand, nationally with our alumni is strong. And so really fortunate that was able to get the opportunity here by Doug Gillen. And now let's just keep elevating the program.
Yeah. It's really impressive how before a mid-major was kind of like a stepping stone, mid-major program was a stepping stone but we're seeing more and more mid-major programs like Coach K from Toledo has been there 13 years. The Kent State coach, Senderhoff, he's been there for, double digits. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. You're an hour away from home. You have it seems like coaching has become of more like the spot of comfortability and where you can, because here's the thing, you can win anywhere, right? I mean, you can win anywhere and compete and stuff like that. I guess the only problem is, the Sun Belt's been a really good conference, and there's probably a small chance you're only going to get one bid, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that the league we're moving in the right direction. I think, last year we ended up with 4 top 100 teams in the net. Though this year, right now, we've got 2, but we've got a few teams on the outside. I just think we are trending in the right direction as a league. And this league is filled with, really quality coaches and players, and it's exciting. But, I do think, once again, we're trending in the right way, right? But we'll certainly see how it goes, and certainly as of now, obviously, we've got to win the tournament. Everybody's got to win the tournament.
Yep.
Yeah. LT, what do you think?
Yep.
Ask him a few questions here.
Yep. Let's do this.
Kind of fire off. So Coach Kerns, what we do, we have what's called the shot clock, where Luke is gonna ask you like 6-7 questions, pretty lighthearted questions. There might be one serious thing in there. I don't know,
That
but we'll see. Yeah, just whatever comes to mind. Whether it's one word, one sentence, whatever. He'll start firing these off.
All right.
One word to describe your team.
Unselfish.
Okay. That's a good one. One word to describe App State.
Gotta
be better than elite. It's elite. Okay, that's better than Tre'Von's. What was Tre'Von, Sam?
Funny.
Yeah. I don't know.
Funny?
Yeah. He's having a good time there.
I just think we're elite in academics, we're elite in athletics,
nice,
and we're elite in the community. This is an elite place to live.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I might have some eligibility. I'm 47. I can go to my 5th school if you wanted me to.
Good luck.
Funniest recruiting story.
Ooh, gosh, I'm gonna have to put it back here. Oh.
You like bad chili? Because Coach Shirts at Indiana State loves bad chili.
Bad chili. Funniest recruiting story. I'm trying to think of a few that maybe.
Or who was the toughest kid to get? Who was the one that it was just so difficult to get? We had someone. Didn't we have someone pick up a kid at like Six Flags or something, Sam? Some coach to start his recruiting trip.
Random stories for sure.
Fletcher McGee, when I was at Wofford, was a fun recruitment, but certainly challenging, and in the sense of we really had he was from Florida, so we were out of area, and he ended up becoming at the time the all-time 3-point shooter in school history. But he was a guy that when we went to do the home visit, he had a goal outside the house with a pillow at the bottom of the basketball, a goal, because he would shoot at night in the neighborhood and people would complain about the ball bouncing. So he had pillows that would catch the ball and then roll to him. But he's a guy that turned out to be obviously a really good player. That's a unique story.
Yeah.
In itself.
Okay. Most memorable win as a coach.
Probably the Sun Belt Championship game, when we were able to win that and go to the NCAA tournament. Just experiencing that moment with our players and staff. That's something that would have been the 3rd time that's been done in school history. And that was a pretty special win.
Okay. One team you've always wanted to play.
I'd like to kind of, right? I want to say that I kind of want to coach a game in Allen Fieldhouse in Kansas, right?
Ooh.
You know, that's I see a lot of teams go in there, and there's not many down years in Kansas. You know, fortunately, 20 years of coaching have experienced playing against Gonzaga or UCLA or Louisville had a really great environment. I've coached at Duke in North Carolina. But I'd love to, some point maybe go to Rupp Arena. I think that, no matter who's playing, there's going to be 24,000 people there. I think experiencing one of those type atmospheres and environments and the history of college basketball when you come to those two places.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to play Kentucky right now. Their fans are kind of pissed off. So, who is your coaching idol or mentor?
Well, I got several, right? And so
just pick one, coach. Pick one. Don't give me nine. Right. Just pick one.
I'll go Mike Young.
Okay.
I spent the longest time with him, and 7 years, and certainly learned a lot from him, and we shared a lot of great experiences, and certainly he's doing great things at Virginia Tech.
Nice. One word to describe the Sun Belt.
Tough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Players are tough. Coaches are tough. Tough every single night.
Yeah. Yeah. The cheerleaders are tough.
Yeah.
They're all tough. The concession people are tough.
Fans tough.
Yeah, exactly. Fans are tough. Funniest player on the team.
Funniest player on our team?
Yeah.
We got a different group. I'm sure they're funny when I'm not around as well. We'll go Tre'Von Spillers since we talked about him. He's got a funny side to him.
Well, he wasn't even in his top 3, so there you go. Who is the best dancer of your team, your players?
Best dancer on our team. I don't know if I've seen our team dance, which may be a good thing, right? But I feel like CJ Huntley would be a good dancer.
Isn't that who he said, CJ?
Yeah, Tre'Von said CJ.
Okay. Best rapper.
Best rapper.
Yeah, because they don't sing. That's what Sam tells me. The younger generation don't sing, they rap.
On our team?
Yeah.
Maybe Donovan Gregory. I don't know.
Oh, I think he said Miles Tate, didn't he?
Miles Tate could be a good rapper, I would think.
Yeah. Okay. So of your coaching staff, which one coach would you say is the funniest, worst dancer, and worst rapper?
Coach Fay, I'd go funniest. Worst dancer?
Yeah. Who's the worst dancer of the coaches?
Coach Zork.
I didn't have to think about that one.
Coach, and then best rapper?
Best or worst?
Coach Young.
Okay. Last question, and we've stumped a lot of coaches with this. What is your song that best describes you? Kind of like your anthem.
Song. Oh wow. Yeah. See, I love music, but I don't.
I thought you were going to say, Coach. I thought you were going to say I'm a Swiftie.
No, my daughter is. My daughter is a Swiftie, for sure.
It's all good. And there's no wrong answer. We've had everything from the Grateful Dead to Jimmy Buffett to
Frank Sinatra.
It's yeah.
I'm gonna go Moon Taxi. All right. It's positive, it's energetic, but it flows. You can listen to it in different settings. I'll go Moon Taxi.
Is that NBA Youngboy or whatever it's called?
No, I don't think so. But I don't know songs very well, and I was looking at my phone, all these music things, but I just kind of listen to music. Sometimes I don't even know who's playing. I just kind of hear something, I'll examine it.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you won nothing. I mean, you are the 5th ranked nationally in rebounds and top 50 in field goal percentage. You still didn't get anything in the questions, but at least you maybe thought deep about yourself, and your wife might say you're a better man after answering those questions.
Well, I appreciate it. It's always great to be on here. You guys do a great job, and appreciate what you do to grow the game of basketball.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you, coach, and everything you're doing at Appalachian State. It's yeah, I mean, it's what you've done at that university and brought such a positive college basketball experience there. It's just so fun to watch you guys play because you guys play so hard. You guys play together. It's there's very few teams out there that play as hard as you guys on defense, and it makes it fun to watch as a college basketball fan. So thank you.
You know what I loved? My favorite saying of this whole podcast was Coach Kerns said, "Swimming in a new pool." I wrote that down.
Why do you like that so much?
I don't know. I just think I think it makes sense. It's like when, and it was when they beat Auburn. It's like we're swimming in a new pool and we wanted to. So I mean, I thought that was a really good, interesting comment and what have you. Man, I'm really impressed. I've watched them. I'm continuing. I'm hopefully going to catch them. The App State, Louisiana. I mean, 2 former podcast guests, 2 good teams. I mean, you know, you rip on my picks, and I know they're not the best. They're pretty shitty.
I don't rip on your picks.
I'm emotional. I'm an emotional picker.
The numbers speak for themselves.
I'm not going to lie. I know that. The ball don't lie. The ball don't lie. My balls don't lie. But here's the point, okay? I get a connection with people, and I'm like, I got to rope, because then I feel bad. Like I feel it right here.
Sure.
Whatever. That was fun, though.
I mean, it's a good thing I picked them early in the season.
You did. You said they were going to beat them. You said they're going to beat James Madison, and they did.
Not once, but
2 times a lady, and I love.
So it's no, that was a fun interview. Like Tre'Von Spillers is he's probably one of my more favorite player interviews that we've had, just because like he just showed up with a smile, and it's just good to see these young men.
Dude, he had Super Mario in the background.
Yeah,
if you're watching on his YouTube, look for it as he moves. You see Super Mario.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. And then have Coach Kerns on. I mean, what he, we've talked about it, but like what he's done to Appalachian State program the past couple of years, turning them into more of a household name. I love that, he pointed out like the national televised game as kind of like one of the turning points. I thought he told that anecdote very well, how the other top games that people attended, they were there to see the opponent, and the game against James Madison, national televised conference game in the Sun Belt, you're packing the house, it's loud, and they're there to see Appalachian State because Appalachian State's that good now, and they're 11-0 at home this year. And, there's just something about college basketball environment that, when you're 11-0 at home, it's more than just putting a good team on the court. It's right. What's happening in the stands. It's the culture that, you get with the students walking into the arena, and, you're starting to build history there. And it's fun to watch, and, to hear Coach Kerns talk about that, it was great.
Yeah. And I love that I just learned something. Bruce Pearl was the mascot at Boston College. Did you know that?
I think I read that somewhere, but if you would have asked me, I wouldn't have pulled it out.
Yeah.
But, no, fantastic episode, man. Good job to you as always for scheduling these.
Yeah.
And I'm a Mountaineers fan, and I hope to see them dancing.
Yes, I hope so too. They deserve to be. So don't forget to subscribe, rate, and Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts. Pass the Rock. He doesn't have a ball, but Pass the Rock. And we'll have another great episode. I don't know when, but it'll either be this week, next week. But we'll have another great episode with me and Sammy D, baby.
Let's get it, baby.
All right. Full Court Press Podcast. A
college basketball experience.